The stars are not what they appear. To the casual observer, they glitter like distant beacons of hope, but in truth, they are the watchful eyes of the void, ever observing, ever waiting. Some worlds are concealed in the forgotten stretches of the galaxy, hidden by time and fate. Mortis Vox is one such place, lost and veiled in a silence that has endured through the ages. It is a realm where light dares not enter, where the echoes of ages past gnaw at the present, warping the very essence of reality. For one who craves power, it offers both trial and refuge. Only the most unyielding, the most unshakable, can endure its demands. Liliana's body is a testament to Mortis Vox's trials, the scars from her battle with the beast of Zurich Prime, the planet's shadowed depths, and the intricate tattoos that mark a Sith's path. But these are merely the surface. The true test still awaits, for within every shadow, every fleeting sensation lies a power incomprehensible to the unprepared. And it is in the very core of Mortis Vox that Liliana will confront the truths of her existence. Led by the powerful Sith Lord Darth Varakius, she journeys deeper into the planet's heart, past perilous terrain and forgotten secrets, her spirit as much in jeopardy as her body. The Forest of Dread looms ahead, a place where the air thrums with dark energy, and echoing voices from the abyss itself insinuate themselves into her mind. They offer power, they promise knowledge, but they demand a price. Mortis Vox is no world like any other. It is alive with the essence of the darkness that shaped Liliana's past on Zurich Prime, now pulling her toward her inevitable future. The cold weight of exhaustion clung to Liliana as she trailed behind Darth Varakius, her limbs heavy from the relentless training and her final battle with the beast. Every scar on her body felt like a fresh wound, the etchings of the mark of the Sith on her skin almost throbbing, their intricate designs stark against her pale pink skin. Each tattoo was a testament to her trials, each one a reminder of the price she had paid to become a Sith, but even the pain seemed distant compared to the deep, gnawing weariness that had settled into her bones. For the first time since her arrival on Mortis Vox, Liliana found herself outside the confines of her training arena. The jagged landscape stretched out before her, vast and otherworldly, and for the first time she truly saw the planet she had been forged upon. The sky was an eternal night, painted in deep indigos and faint emerald hues that seemed to shift and ripple like an unbroken sea. Dark clouds swirled in patterns that hinted at something larger and more alive than mere weather. The air itself was dense, electric, carrying a hum so low it was almost imperceptible, but enough to make the hair on her neck stand on end. The atmosphere pressed in on her, oppressive and filled with the unmistakable presence of the dark side. It was alive, and it watched her. The land was alien in its desolation. Spires of crystalline rock jutted upward from the ground, their surfaces glowing faintly with bioluminescence, casting an eerie, wavering light across the terrain. The very ground seemed to pulse, alive with energy, as though Mortis Vox itself was breathing. Beneath her boots, the soil was soft and shifting, giving way to brittle shards of crystal that crunched faintly as she walked. Strange fungi, their stalks translucent and crowned with shimmering caps, swayed despite the lack of wind. It was as if the entire world moved in subtle rhythms, harmonizing with the energy coursing beneath it, and everywhere the whispers followed. Mortis Vox's presence seemed to cling to her very thoughts, curling around her mind with a subtle insistence. There was a melody to the whispers, a strange, barely there symphony of voices, too faint to understand but too vivid to ignore.
"Do not linger,"
Varakius commanded, his voice sharp and unyielding. He strode ahead, his dark cloak brushing the ground like a living shadow, his presence an extension of the darkness that enveloped the planet. Liliana's gaze flicked around the landscape, unease tightening her chest. The terrain seemed to shift and change subtly, as if the land itself was alive, watching, testing. She had felt it the moment she set foot on Mortis Vox, a pull, faint but constant, as though the planet itself sought to claim her, to bind her to its ancient power.
This place.
She muttered, barely audible, her voice almost swallowed by the endless hum.
Mortis Vox.
Veracius replied, not even bothering to glance back.
It is not a place for the faint of heart. Every shadow, every breath of wind, every inch of ground is steeped in the dark side. It sees you, it measures you, and it will consume you if you are not strong enough.
Liliana swallowed hard, the truth of his words resounding in her chest like the strike of a lightsaber. Her hands instinctively tightened around the hilt of her two lightsabers, both gleaming faintly in the dim light. She had already felt the weight of Mortis Vox, the subtle, crushing force that tried to break her resolve. It wasn't just the planet, it was the dark side, seeping into everything, testing her very essence. The Sith had been fractured for generations, torn apart by endless betrayals, infighting, and those who coveted power above all else. The old ways, the rigid hierarchical structures, the complex codes, were crumbling. Too many voices demanded their place at the top. Too many Sith Lords fought for control of the ancient power that had long been their birthright. And though the galaxy had known peace for too long, it was this very calm that bred dissent within their ranks. The Sith were scattered, splintered. But Mortis Vox, she realized, was untouched by such turmoil. This world had no need for the power struggles that consumed the galaxy, for its secrets were known only to the strongest and the most ruthless. The planet was as old as the Sith themselves, a place where their essence had been tested and forged. It was a realm that neither accepted weakness nor allowed for rebellion. The path they followed descended into a sprawling forest, its canopy formed not by leaves, but by an intricate lattice of bioluminescent fungi. Their glow bathed the forest floor in shades of turquoise and violet, casting long, shifting shadows that seemed to flicker and fade like reflections in water. The deeper they went, the darker it became. Strange creatures, their eyes glowing a deep crimson, moved silently in the distance, their bodies in skeletal form, their appearance in colours of reds, blues and purples, almost translucent. Liliana caught fleeting glimpses of them, creatures quite unique of this world, their movements unnaturally smooth, gliding through the trees like shadows.
Are they predators?
She asked, her voice betraying her unease as her fingers brushed against the hilts of her weapons. She didn't trust the quiet.
They are watchers, and they are not your concern unless you give them reason to be.
Veracius replied, his tone almost dismissive. Liliana hesitated, her instincts flaring. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching her, studying her every move. The forest seemed to breathe around her, its soft hum matching the rhythm of her heartbeat. Every step felt like it carried her deeper into something ancient and unforgiving. As they continued, they passed a pool of black liquid, its surface perfectly still yet glimmering faintly with starlight-like specks. It reflected nothing of the surroundings, instead showing fractured glimpses of things that shouldn't exist. Figures, faces, places she didn't recognize. Her heart clenched in confusion as her eyes were drawn to it, and for a brief moment she thought she saw her own face, twisted in agony. Liliana averted her gaze, her heart pounding. A cold chill ran down her spine, though the air was still warm and thick with the weight of the planet.
Don't look too closely,
Veracius warned, his voice tinged with a strange amusement.
The pools show truths and lies in equal measure. They are another of Mortis Vox's many tests. Do not be fooled. There is no wisdom in gazing into the abyss.
Liliana's chest tightened. The whispers of Mortis Vox seemed to reach deeper into her mind, unravelling her thoughts, testing her resolve. The truth of Voracius's words felt like an iron shackle around her spirit. By the time they reached the edge of the forest, Liliana felt as though she'd been walking for days. Her muscles ached, her mind buzzed with the incessant whispers that refused to leave her in peace. Her senses were heightened, her mind stretched thin, and she could feel Mortis Vox closing in on her, like an impenetrable fog pressing down on her very soul. But the most unsettling sensation was the weight of Mortis Vox itself, a pressure invisible yet all-encompassing, bearing down on her like a heavy cloak. It wasn't just the exhaustion of her body, it was the planet itself, actively trying to break her spirit. There was something ancient here, something older than even the Sith, a presence that sought to claim her, to test her against all the darkness this world could offer.
Mortis Vox is no ordinary world.
Voracius said, his voice low, as if sensing her inner turmoil.
It is a crucible, a forge, and you are the ore it seeks to temper or destroy.
Ahead, the terrain unfolded into a vast plain beneath a sky of impenetrable darkness, heavy with the oppressive weight of ancient knowledge. In the distance, a massive structure loomed, its sharp, angular silhouette stark against the dim expanse, almost alien in its geometry.
The Temple of the Abyss.
Voracius said, his tone growing colder.
It is there that your journey will truly begin. Everything you have endured so far has been but a prelude.
As they moved toward the temple, the whispers grew louder, more insistent, clawing at the edges of her mind. Liliana tried to block them out, but they slipped past her mental defenses, a chorus of voices that twisted and wriggled like worms in her thoughts. Some spoke her name, others mocked her, while others still offered promises of power that Mortis Vox could grant her, if only she embraced it. Her eyes darted around, but the shadows seemed to shift and grow deeper, as though the temple itself was alive, its presence pulling at the very fabric of reality. She could feel it, the weight of it, the darkness that seeped from the temple like a tangible fog.
I will survive.
Liliana whispered to herself, the words a mantra. Voracius glanced at her, his face unreadable. For a moment, his eyes softened, gleaming with something that almost resembled reverence.
We shall see,
he murmured. Stay tuned for Chapter 2, Part 2.